Hey y'all, so I get this question from business owners more than anybody else. And it's always, Lexi, should I buy commercial real estate or should I stick to residential and buy more rental houses? And it's a great question, and my answer isn't what you would expect most agents to say. Today, I'm going to break down the real differences between residential and commercial real estate from the perspective of a business owner, and specifically someone who's trying to build wealth. And I'm going to tell you the truth about what I would actually recommend for most entrepreneurs. Let's check it out. So, for anybody new here, I'm Lexi Sims, commercial real estate advisor in Houston, Texas, born and raised, and I'm also an industrial engineer by training. And I say all that just to say that I look at real estate as a system to optimize and not just a sales transaction. But here's something y'all may not know about me. I started in residential real estate, and I still have some clients that are looking for residential properties. So I'm not coming at this as someone who hates residential. I'm coming at this as someone who has done both and a lot of it. So, real quick, before we get too deep, I'm going to assume that you're a business owner watching this or an aspiring business owner watching this. If you're a passive investor who never wants to think about the asset, this video isn't really for you. If you're a business owner trying to decide where to put your investment dollars, then keep watching. So, let's walk through the 5 key differences and then I'll tell you which path I think makes the most sense for business owners. Difference number one is the price point. Residential real estate properties in Houston run anywhere from 200 to 400K for a single family rental. Commercial properties for a business operator start around 500K and then go up from there. But most decent commercial real estate deals in Houston are going to be $1 million and up. So the entry point can be very different. Residential is more accessible if you're starting with less capital, but commercial requires more upfront. However, with the SBA 504 financing, the down payment can be actually lower. So 10% with an SBA versus 20 to 25 for a residential investment property. And make sure you don't miss that. So the asset with the higher sticker price has the lower down payment requirement. Difference number two is the financing. So residential investment loans typically require 20 to 25% down and run at higher interest rates than primary residence loans, and they have a 30-year term. Commercial loans for owner operators can be 10% down via an SBA loan, 25-year term, fixed rate on the SBA fees. Make sure you check out my SBA 504 loan video if you haven't watched that yet. The link is going to be in the description. And this is the part most agents skip when they're comparing the two. The financing structure is fundamentally different between residential and commercial, and for business owners especially, commercial has financial advantages that residential just doesn't have. So here's my take. If you're a W-2 employee buying a rental house on the side, residential financing is the standard path. If you're a business owner buying real estate for your business, you have access to financing structures most W-2 employees can't even touch, and that's a pretty meaningful advantage. Residential tenants are usually individuals or families. The lease terms are typically 12 months, and so you're dealing with personal issues, right? Like job loss, illness, life changes. The turnover is definitely higher on that side. And property management is more hands-on as well. And so I've been a landlord and I've taken those calls at 2 a.m. about the air not working or the heat not working. Commercial tenants are businesses. Lease terms are typically 3 to 5 years, often with a renewal option as well. So the turnover is a lot lower. The business renting from you is making a multi-year commitment because moving a business is expensive and disruptive, and nobody really wants to have to do that. The downside, though, is that when a commercial tenant does leave, releasing the space takes longer than residential. So when you have the vacancy, that vacancy is a lot more impactful. I tell people the easiest way to understand this is that residential is a high frequency and lower impact, and commercial is lower frequency, higher impact. Difference four is cash flow and appreciation. So residential investment properties typically have lower cap rates, meaning lower current cash flow as a percentage of the purchase price. But Houston residential has appreciated about 4 to 5% annually historically. Commercial properties typically have higher cap rates, meaning they're higher current cash flow, but appreciation is more variable. It depends on the submarket, the asset class, and what tenants you have. For business owners specifically, there's a third factor that most analysis ignore. When you own the building your business operates from, you're also saving rent. And that's not investment income, that's expense avoidance. And expense avoidance compounds the same way income does. And this is definitely the engineer in me talking. When you optimize a system, you optimize for both inputs and outputs. Most people analyze real estate only from the output or the cash flow. The owner operator model lets you optimize for both. Difference number 5 is all about tax treatment. Both residential and commercial real estate offer depreciation. The difference is residential depreciates over 27 and a half years and commercial depreciates over 39 years. So residential gives you slightly more depreciation per dollar invested in any given year. But commercial real estate gives you the ability to combine the asset with your business operations, which opens up additional tax strategies that you and your CPA should walk through. This is where having a good CPA matters more than the asset class. If you don't have one, get one before you do either of these. So let's talk about when residential is the right path for a business owner. If you have less than $100,000 available for down payment and you're not in a position to use SBA financing, residential is going to be more accessible to you. You can buy a $250,000 rental house with $50K down and start building experience as a landlord. If you want to learn the basics of being a property owner, tenant management, repair maintenance, financing, residential is a lower stakes way to start. Mistakes cost less and recovery is faster. If you have a strong reason to keep your business operations separate from your real estate, for example, if your business is particularly volatile or you don't want to mix the two, residential keeps those worlds separate. Here's what I think. Residential is the training wheels for a lot of business owners. It's a great way to start, but it's not where most business owners end up. Now let's talk about when commercial is the better move. If you're already paying rent for your business space, commercial is almost always the better long-term play. You're already in the building. The question is just whether the lease check or the mortgage check is building your equity. If you have access to SBA 504 financing, which most established business owners do, commercial has a financial structure that residential just doesn't match. And on top of that, if you're thinking 10 plus years down the line, commercial is going to be more aligned with what business owners actually need. So long-term tenant stability, predictable cash flow, and an asset that grows alongside your business. And if you want to combine the real estate with your business operations, owning the building you operate from, structuring tax strategies, commercial is the only path that lets you do that. So here's what I think. For most established business owners, commercial is where the math actually matters, and especially if you're already paying meaningful rent. Real quick, let's talk about the path that I see working for a lot of business owners. And it's actually a hybrid situation between the two. So step one is buy one or two residential rentals, learn the basics, and start building that muscle of being a real estate owner. Step two, once you're comfortable with the process, then you transition over to commercial. You're able to use the SBA 504 loan to buy the building that your business operates from, and now you can start the owner-operator model. Step three, as your business and equity continues to grow, then you can expand to either more commercial properties or keep the residential rentals as cash flowing and use the commercial as your main wealth building tool. This is what I've watched lots of people do here in the last several years, and it's not a one-size-fits-all path, but it works very well for entrepreneurs who want to start cautiously and then grow into bigger plays. So here's what I want you guys to take from this video. There is no universal answer to commercial versus residential. The answer depends on where you are, where you're going, and what kind of business owner you are. If you are already paying commercial rent, then you should start there. Look at the building that you're already in, run the numbers, and if they work, that's almost always your highest leverage move. If you want to look at the numbers on a specific property, yours or one that you might be considering, the link to book a 15-minute call is in the description. There's no pressure, just clarity about what your options are and what could work best for you. Next week, I'll be talking about the 5 biggest mistakes I see business owners make in commercial real estate. Not the ones the agents make, but the ones that the buyers make. The mistakes that could cost them tens of thousands of dollars and sometimes the whole deal itself. So we're going to go there and really dive into that. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell. I'm Lexi Sims, commercial real estate advisor based in Houston, Texas. I'll see you guys in the next video.